Hi, this is Mark, and you're listening to Sports, Politics, and Occasionally Cats. Spoc. Welcome to our podcast today, where you will learn interesting and funny stories about sports, of course, and occasionally politics, but more importantly, stories about wonderful cats in Emmett's life. We're so glad you're here. You can follow us on all the Instagram sites and Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and wherever you get podcasts. Remember, it's sports, politics, and occasionally cats.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of
Spoc, sports, politics, and occasionally cats.
And today we have our very first episode that has all three topics in it.
Yay!
Sports, politics, and cats, but not in that order.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm glad we can work everybody in today.
So Dad, what's our first topic?
Well, we're hours away from the All-Star game. That was a pretty exciting home run derby last night, unless you were Jazz Chisholm. What was that?
Three home runs.
Three?
And
give me a break.
I mean, and every other person had at least 10. That was very pitiful. And I guarantee I'm willing to bet that in the next couple of days, Chisholm's going to come out with a comment. Well, so-and-so got lucky. The game was rigged. I got a bad pitcher.
Yeah, poor Jazz Chisholm. He can't catch a break here in Kansas City. Seems like the last 2 years in the playoffs last year, and then when the Yankees were here in town playing our favorite team, the Royals, he just finds a way to kind of throw a hissy fit when he's in Kansas City. So it was kind of, I don't know if you want to call it some form of justice that he only got three. I was confused why they even put him in the home run derby. He's not... forget about all Jazz Chisholm's complaining about Michael Garcia tagging him too hard as he slid headfirst into third. But he's just not a guy who I think of as a prototypical home run hitter.
And fun fact, I was watching a video from the MLB network, and the networks are very much pro-Yankee, but in this video, they were taking Michael Garcia's side over Chisholm, that Michael did nothing wrong, which is very surprising for the networks.
Well, because it was true. How about that? Truth always wins the day, Emmett. But back to the All-Star game. It's coming up later tonight. We've got our hot dogs and Cracker Jacks and sodas, and maybe we'll split a beer for the game. I mean, come on, it's baseball. And so we're looking forward to that. So who are you picking in the game tonight? What are you looking to see as highlights of the game?
I'll be honest, I'm aware there's Royals in the game, but I honestly don't care too much who wins the NL or the AL. I know it used to be a big deal because in recent years, the winner of that game got home field in the World Series, but now that they don't do that anymore, I mean, it'd be nice if the American League won because they have Witt and Bubic and Michael and Estevez, who's been on a little bit of a slide recently, but oh well. Yeah,
he still leads the American League in saves. Every pitcher has their up and down, particularly a reliever, so he's still doing great.
And what I've noticed is about him, so the Mets are kind of Estevez's kryptonite, because I saw a video somewhere of him playing for the Phillies against the Mets, I believe, last year, and he struggled against the Mets then. So the Mets are a thorn in his side. So we can't be too upset with Estevez for blowing those games this last weekend.
Yeah, well, they came back to win against the Mets in the bottom of the ninth. Nicky Lofton with the second walk-off hit to win the game in, a week?
Yeah, it's fair to say Nick Lofton's got a little hot all of a sudden.
That'd be good. The Royals certainly need some hotter bats than what they've shown in the first half of the season up to the All-Star game. So, yeah, I'm hoping the American League wins because I'm an American League kind of guy, and so I always want them to win, home field advantage or not. So what do you think? Low scoring, high scoring?
That's a tough one. I mean, the American League has Judge and Witt, who are two great home run guys.
And Cal Raleigh, who won the home run derby last night. So,
yeah.
Or Riley, is it Riley? Or
Raleigh. Well, I mean,
like Sir Walter Raleigh.
I'll be honest, I've kind of heard both, but I think Raleigh is probably the better way to say it.
Thank you for setting me straight on that one, Emmett.
But
yeah, so they've got a lot of power.
But then the National League has Paul Skeens, who's doing as good as anybody could expect a Pirate to do, considering the Pirates are always bad.
Yeah, well, the Pirates got some thumpers. O'Neill Cruz, he was doing well last night in the home run derby.
And even O'Neill Cruz had more home runs than Jazz Chisholm last night.
We had to go back to Jazz Chisholm. Let's not get him any more excitement on the home run derby than he deserves.
I'm just saying
it was only 3 hits.
I'm just saying that that was pitiful.
Yep, it was a small display of power. I'll put it that way. I'll give you that.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll focus.
Yeah, so I'm looking for an exciting game. I always enjoy the All-Star game. I hope Bobby gets in. I hope Michael gets in. And I'm sure Bobby will, and Michael, and it'd be good to see Bubic and Estevez come out and show what they can do off the mound.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'll be honest. I kind of have a foot in both doors, so to speak, when it comes to which team do you want to win. Because my primary team is the Royals, but then I also like the Washington Nationals because I have family in D.C. and the Nationals have a player in the game tonight. So I kind of have a foot in both doors, so to speak. But
well, let's land on. Let's hope it's a good game.
Yeah,
how about that? That'll be exciting. Hey, and as we work through the All-Star game and the time off, not the hot stove, but the trade deadline chatter will start picking up in full force after the All-Star game. So what are your thoughts on the trade deadline, particularly for our Royals?
So, and I want to preface this with, I do not agree with the people that are saying this, but I've heard some chatter on Vern's post-game show that they should trade Salvi, and I very much disagree. Call me sentimental, but Salvi's the last piece of our 2015 team, and I think he should stay a Royal until he quits.
Yeah, they're not going to trade Salvi. That would be a bad day in Kansas City, and I'm not sure Salvi being in the last year of his contract. Forget about the options that they're going to get much in return for him. Other teams are looking at some of the catching depth that the Royals have, but I'd hope they'd hang on to him because some of those catchers, particularly Carter Jensen, local kid, have got some pop in their bat, and we need all the pop in a bat that we can get. So I hope they don't trade away any of the emerging talent. We haven't got a real deep minor league. I mean, unless they can get a whole lot in return, but it's going to have to be, Carter Jensen and a few other of their minor leaguers are, on the verge of maybe breaking into the majors, maybe late this year, early next. If they were to trade one of them, they've got to get something comparable and maybe even 2 pieces comparable. But so I don't think Salvi's going to go anywhere. The big talk is whether Seth Lugo will go because he's in the last year of his contract and he's got a player option next year, which everybody speculates he won't exercise because he's got a chance to maybe go out and make some real money. So yeah, it's hard to say. And where are we at in the standings for the wild card? How many games out are we?
Last time I heard it was 4, I think.
4.5 games. So we're kind of on that cusp, talk about 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door, whether or not we can get hot coming out of the gate. I mean, we had a good homestand before the break, 4-2. Took lumps from New York in a couple of days, but had competitive games. So I don't know. It's hard to say whether we should be sellers or buyers or stay putters.
I'll be honest, and I've been voicing this ever since I've heard Vern's post-game show on it. But I am very much a believer in buyers and that we're not out of it yet. And here's why. And I've told Dad this 100 times, but the rest of you haven't heard it, so I'm going to say it again. So
should I plug my ears so I don't have to hear it again?
You can. Anyway, so a few years ago in 2022, the Baltimore Orioles were like 10 games below 500 at one point, and they came back, rallied, and almost made the playoffs. And the Royals are in that same situation kind of this year, I feel like.
Yep. I love your optimism, Emmett. We've got to be optimistic. So I just hope we can come out of the break and really start getting some consistent hitting, if Salvi and Witt and Pasquatch can kind of do a little bit what they did last year where they do much better with runners in scoring positions, maybe get Nicky Lofton getting a little heat under him, and that'd be great. We could use some hitting.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest. I wouldn't mind if they traded Seth Lugo because this is going to sound horrible, but I really don't have any like sentimental attachment to him the way I have Witt and Salvi. So if they got rid of Lugo, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
I was pretty mad when they got rid of Nicky Lopez a few years ago because I got a signed Nicky Lopez shirt.
Yeah, well, Nicky was great in the community and great in your community, so we miss Nicky for that. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like Seth Lugo. I get loyal to all our players, but one thing you have to hand out to JJ and the team is they're a little more transactional, and I think if they can get 2 or 3 people for Lugo, with 1 or 2 of those being close to or potential major league, maybe a pitcher and an outfielder and somebody else, that'd be great. But then, Seth Lugo is kind of your quintessential rent-a player for the end of the season run, but there's not a lot of pitching out there. So I would think that if they do want to try to run him out on the trade list, hopefully we can get something in return. So we'll see. It should be an exciting couple weeks.
Do you think the Royals can get Shohei?
I don't think they can get Shohei. He's a franchise player, and he costs as much as some franchises. So I don't think the Dodgers would send him away.
I mean, no one thought the Angels were going to lose him a couple years ago, and they did. So
yeah, what would we trade to get Shohei? We'd have to send him Bobby, Salvi, Q, the whole team and the managers,
Medios.
Every baseball we have in the storage shed. I mean,
Carlos Estevez, they trade him too. They get it.
That would just get the conversation started, and then we'd have Shohei and nobody else. Don't think that's going to happen, Emmett. Yeah. It was fun, though, to be able to see Shohei when he comes to town. Yeah. I'll take that. So, Emmett, we're kind of we don't know which way to go, up, down, sell, buy, hold firm, hold hope for a playoff run in the second half. I love your story about the Orioles a couple of years ago. It's got to be optimism. Optimism has to reign in baseball because it's a long season. So let's see where it goes. Maybe we'll make a splash and make a run all at the same time.
Maybe we can get Paul Skeens.
Probably not going to happen there either. He's going to want to be a free agent so he can go out and make the big bucks. And you know where he probably would end up? Let's see. Yankees. Who spends a lot of money?
Yankees.
Dodgers. Mets.
Astros.
Phillies. Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. Trastros.
Okay, we'll save that whole story for another podcast. You got a name for every team in the league.
Yeah, the Yankees I call the Stankies because they always manage to stink in the playoffs.
Yeah. You probably get some New Yorkers that go along with that. So anyway, exciting time. I'm looking forward to the game tonight. Looking forward to cracking open some Cracker Jacks and watching a good game. That should be fun. So Emmett, one thing we've talked about before, I mean, tonight, one of the great things about the All-Star game is we can click on the TV, pull up, who's broadcast, Fox or ESPN? Fox. And boom, it's right there on the TV. But boy, it is hard to get Royals games on TV anymore.
Yeah, basically the last few years there's been a revolving door of TV apps you have to have. First, we could get Bally Sports on our TV. Then we changed to YouTube TV, and we can't. So I had to listen to the games on the radio, which I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about having to listen on the radio because Denny and Jake are awesome.
Yep.
But then they switched to FanDuel Sports Network, which is a separate thing you have to have in order to get the game. So they make it incredibly hard to watch a game on TV these days.
NFL, you click on.
Yeah, you just go like that, and the game's on.
NBC, CBS, ESPN, Amazon, which you can get to probably easier than FanDuel. Yeah, it's kind of complicated. They need to figure something better out.
Or they'll have a game on TV on a nationally televised, but it feels like it's always the Yankees. They might have the Royals on national TV, but the real reason that game's a nationally televised game is because the Yankees are in it.
Yeah, well, I'll take the Royals playing anybody on TV. That'd be good. And we try to get them on MLB app, but we can't get it out of market.
Yeah, and
it's always complicated. It's cumbersome at best.
The most annoying thing about that is if say I had MLB TV, I tried to watch the Royals game on MLB TV in our house here, it's not going to let me because I'm in market. It's like, okay, so why are you offering me to watch that game? And if I can't watch it,
They need a button that says, but we're season ticket holders and got it free. So we don't have 81 games, but we have enough.
we have like 20, which is fine.
21. Yeah.
That's
right,
fine,
exactly.
though, that's
but my
fine.
point is we go to games too, but we can't make 81 games a year. So it'd be nice to watch them on TV. But I'm like you. I like listening to Denny and Jake on the radio and then the pre and post game show. That works for me. And Vern. We've mentioned Vern a couple times here today. Yeah, he's our favorite post game and pre game and post game analyst.
Maybe someday if we get famous enough, we can have him guest appearance on our podcast.
Okay.
Although our very first guest, and this probably isn't going to happen this season because we're just getting off the ground, but I'm going to make a goal in seasons 2 or absolutely the latest season 3, we're going to have a former Royal player, Les Norman, on.
Yeah, we did a radio interview last fall on Les's show, and
Breaking the Norm,
and he was very encouraging to Emmett to go ahead and pursue this podcast, and here we are, we're doing it. So we want to get a few episodes under our belt, get our rhythm down a little bit more, and then maybe send him a couple of clips, see if he likes it.
Yeah, but I mean, back to the like
how hard it is to watch games.
Yeah, they like 10 years ago, watching a baseball game was the same as watching an NFL game. You just picked up the remote, turned on the TV, scrolled down to your TV station where the game's on, clicked on it, boom, you're set for the next 3 hours. Now it's like, let's see, I have to go here, then I have to go here, then I have to go there.
Oh, and it's blacked out today, can't watch it. What are you going to do?
I don't know. It's just like, I mean, again, for me, it's not a big deal. I have to listen to it on the radio because I have ways I can listen to it on the radio. But there are some people that probably don't want to listen to it on the radio, and those people are being alienated and not watching games or listening to them because they can't get them on TV and they don't want to listen on the radio for 6 months. I don't know.
Right. Well, and as much as we like the radio announcers, Ryan and Rex are pretty good too. We like listening to them as well on the broadcast, so we kind of miss that. So we'll have to figure something out better as the season goes on, and maybe the MLB and the Royals and everybody else will figure out a better deal for next year.
Yeah.
So Emmett, when we set up the show and we got started, you said this was going to be our first episode where we talked about sports, politics, and occasionally cats.
Well,
so let's talk about cats. You've got a great story about how you don't make Manx cats. So why don't you tell the funny story? Well, everybody's heard about Oreo, your first cat that you ever had that
first
you really
love.
loved. Yeah, still love her deeply.
Still miss her,
although she's long gone.
And
rest in peace, Miss Oreo.
So Oreo,
but she was a Manx cat, meaning she didn't have much of a tail, and so
she had a little stub where her tail was supposed to go, which is about as close as you get.
Yeah, and so anyway, when poor Oreo passed away, we were interested in getting another Manx cats. Tell them the story about the interesting things we found out about people who sell Manx cats.
Yeah, so my mom was. My guess is my mom, her first choice was to get another Manx cat. Is what I think this is driven from. But
yes,
so she looked all over. She found a place in Oklahoma, I believe, that sold Manx cats. Well, she somehow dug further, and apparently the owner, man or woman, I don't know.
Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. But anyway, apparently they chopped the tail off the cat and called it a Manx cat, which is wrong on so many levels.
Yes, and glad we didn't go down that rabbit hole and
so
show up in some strange place to find a cat with a tail and a big Band-Aid wrapped around the tail end.
Yeah, so there are people that will cut off the tail of a cat and call it a Manx cat. Don't do that. That's very, very inhumane. all the cats aren't humans, but anyway, but you,
Well, it's very cruel.
Yeah, it's very cruel to animals, and you shouldn't cut the tail off just to call it a Manx. Like, thankfully, there are honest people who breed Manx cats, like Dad's friend Paul Prue, who bred Oreo, and
Many years ago.
thankfully, there are honest people that don't cut the tails off a Manx cat and say, or I mean, a normal cat and say here. So after my mom learned of that, she kind of gave up on trying to find a Manx cat. So instead we got a silver tick tabby with a second layer of fur, which I'd never heard of a silver tick tabby before, but we have Twiggy now.
And Twiggy's made a couple cameo appearances on, I think, what was that, our first podcast where she climbed over our head or something?
Yeah.
Found her way into the camera.
And
she's a bit of a diva cat. Well, did I say diva cat?
It's fine.
Okay.
Free speech.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, so what we're trying to tell you here is just don't cut the tails off a cat and call it a Manx cat, because I mean, I'll be quite honest. If we'd been in the same town that person was and we found that out, we could have called the police on them. That is animal abuse, and you can't cut the tail off a cat just to make it a Manx cat. That's not the way it works.
First of all, we'd had to have proven it, but yeah, you're right. That's not the right thing to do. So the moral of this story is be kind to cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And people.
And gerbils.
And gerbils. Well, yeah, be kind to everybody.
And ferrets.
Let's not get a running list of animals. We'll be here all night. We'll probably forget somebody, and then they'll be upset. So,
okay,
but
fine.
Just be kind. How about that? How about just be kind?
Yeah, and don't be as nice to your pet as you can when they bite your finger and you have a knee-jerk reaction. Do whatever you can to not push them across the table as hard as possible.
Yeah, we would never do that. And our cat, she likes to nibble on fingers and arms.
Twiggy likes to bite people's necks when you let.
It's not quite a bite; it's more of a nibble, but nonetheless, it's kind of irritating.
Hurts.
Yes,
it hurts.
It's not what you expect. So, you know what we got, Emmett? I'm going to kind of get off script here for a little bit, but we have a new pet friend coming in. It's not an occasionally cat thing, but another dog, and it's relevant to the Royals, who we love. But our nephew, Kaufman, our four-legged Labrador friend, he's named after Kauffman Stadium, is moving back to Kansas City. He'll be here any day. So looking forward to introducing him to Twiggy.
I've actually got a funny story. I'll try and keep it quick.
Keep it quick.
Yeah. So I used to be afraid of dogs because one day I was chased around by a Chihuahua. Well, and
is that the funny story? That's a pretty funny picture.
Well.
Anyway, your story.
It was like, and I spent several years afraid of dogs after that. And the first dog I met that helped me get over being scared was Kaufman back at our rental when Mom and Dad first got married, and it was a dark night. It was dark outside, and I came out and I met Kaufman, and then
he was pretty excited to see you.
Yeah.
You held your hand out and he came up and licked your hand.
And we aren't sure how Logan's going to handle Kaufman because Logan gets very jealous around other dogs. We aren't sure how it's going to go when they meet. No joke.
Yeah, I'm being real. But moving on.
We're going to make sure Logan doesn't bite Kaufman's head off or vice versa.
Yeah. So we've got some ideas for how to introduce the two big labs to each other when they get here, but we're looking forward to that. That'll be great. Look forward to hearing more about Kaufman. So we're going to go ahead and do the P and Spoc. It's a little politics talk.
Yeah.
Kind of a big week. The war in Ukraine continues on. I heard today there may be 150,000 North Korean soldiers helping the Russians. That's kind of horrible. And every day you wake up, there's another overnight bombing of Kyiv and other big cities in Ukraine. And the president came out and said the other day, I had 4 conversations with Vladimir. I thought we were friends. And then I get back
to... You can't trust Putin.
You can't
trust him as far as you can throw him.
Yeah, right. Not quite sure why it took that long for our president to figure that out. But anyway, here we are.
Yeah.
But he goes back to the family quarters and tells the first lady, "Oh, I had a great conversation with Vladimir." And she turns to him and says, "He just bombed another city." So that's kind of turned the whole tone on the whole Ukrainian thing. And it looks like, and I think rightfully so, for the Ukrainian people's sake, we're going to start sending some more arms through NATO. They're going to buy them. We're going to ship them to them. Then they're going to give them to the Ukrainians. Hopefully stave off the Russian, North Korean onslaught. It's just sad that there's so much bombing, and when the Russians send in drones and missiles and everything else, they're just indiscriminately bombing homes and apartment buildings and schools and nursing homes,
killing thousands of Ukrainians, innocent Ukrainians.
Right. I mean, it's not as if it's soldiers on the battlefield coming into conflict. So hopefully they can send some arms and help the Ukrainians stem the tide and turn the tide maybe even better moving forward. But that I thought was a good development this week. What do you think?
Yeah, two things I want you to say. First of all, I'm kind of surprised NATO's willing to work with us at this point. Frankly, I'm kind of surprised at that.
Yeah, well, I think they found a way to kind of work with the United States and its leadership. And they've kind of got a nice, it seems like Trump has kind of turned around a little bit. I think that's some savvy leadership by European and NATO allies.
Although he's still threatening tariffs on all our allies. But that's a different story for a different episode. And two, the way what happened like with Russia invading Ukraine, that's a lot like the way World War II started. Germany invaded Poland, and that's how the war started. Russia invaded Ukraine, and so we're seeing signs that this is the same way World War II started, and that's what's concerning. Is this war is starting the exact same way? I think this might. I think I heard World War II was the deadliest war in Earth history or something. I think
in world history. Yep.
But the point is, it's starting the same way the other war started, with someone invading someone.
Yep.
But
never a good thing to invade a sovereign country for no other reason.
I'll be honest. If what America probably needs to do, they probably just need to stop being afraid that North Korea might bomb America, China might retaliate, Russia might do something to us, and just send some troops over to Ukraine to help end this, because this has been going on for over 3 years now. I think the world's getting tired of it.
I think everybody is. I don't think we'll send over troops. That's a pretty bright line that everybody, Biden and Trump, have put down. But sending them more arms and letting the Ukrainians kind of unleashing their potential would probably be a good thing. But we'll see. But it's just good to see that the Ukrainian people are going to finally get some more support.
And then I honestly thought we were going to start. I honestly thought World War III was going to start last month when Trump bombed Iran. This is going to be a little bit short tangent. We have a couple minutes anyway, I think.
Yeah, but I think to your point, Emmett, I mean, the point is anytime the United States flexes its power, it can be kind of a scary moment, because you just don't know whether it be America or any other big power, when they start using war as a way to solve problems, it can be scary thinking that something might happen.
And here's my short version of that. Yes, Iran needed to be stopped, but that wasn't the way to go about it, because who's Iran allies with? China, Russia, and North Korea. 3 countries that are very powerful. So Trump did something stupid, and it wasn't the way to handle it, in my opinion. Anyway, happier thoughts.
Well, let's end on a good note here. We've covered a lot of sports, politics, and occasionally cats.
Yep.
We try to balance them all out. And I guess let's think, what's the happy thought you want to close on today?
So I actually, my niece is moving to Kansas City this week, and she's 1. And I actually got to feed her last time she was in town. And I gotta say, she is smart. She can hold the bottle on her own. She's able to hold the bottle on her own. That's something I could never do when I was 1, probably.
I bet you could. When you're hungry, it's amazing what a little kid will do when they get hungry. Yeah, it's exciting. We're looking forward to seeing her. Maybe we can get her on the show someday. Babies, dogs, cats, what more could we want on a podcast?
Yeah, we'll have to run that by Danny and Kristen probably.
Well, yeah.
They might not want that to happen just yet.
We can sneak her in. They'll never know. Anyway, so that's a great way to end it. We're looking forward to having little baby MJ here in Kansas City. And the other thing I'll leave you with is we're getting close to training camp for the Chiefs opening up. So that opens up a whole new set of topics that we can discuss in future podcasts. But we want to thank everybody for joining us today on
Sports, politics, and occasionally cats.
Yep.
Please like, share, and subscribe to our podcast as it helps fuel our mission to be as popular as the Kelsey brothers.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, and have a great All-Star break. Bye.
Hey, this is Mark, and thanks for joining us today on Sports, Politics, and Occasionally Cats. Spoc. What a great show we had today, Emmett. Those were wonderful stories. I can't wait to follow up and listen again on all the usual sites where you get podcasts. Go to Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you find your podcast. And it's Spoc. Sports, Politics, and Occasionally Cats. Wow, that's a great, funny story we had about that cat today, Emmett. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to hearing you on our next show.